Good morning and welcome everyone to IGCSE Wizard. Hope you're having a great day and welcome to our video of how you can improve on physics. So physics is a subject that looks like this to some people and looks like this to some people. So today we're just going to summarize how you can generally improve in physics and which topics are important and you should emphasize on to get the most in your exams. So first we're going to talk about the general improvement, the methods, and then we're going to move on to the topic-wise tips, and then the basic part of how to solve the questions, because in physics, you really need to get that information from the question. Okay, so first things first, general improvement. The best way to, again, I'm going to tell this again and again, but the way you improve in something is basically practice. There is no replacement for practice if you want to improve in something. But generally, once you study physics, you basically want to be practicing question papers. It's if you don't practice the question papers, but you know the entire book or you know the entire syllabus content, you're still gonna get stuck, because in physics the questions are kind of tricky, and you actually have to understand how you can solve the question. The more you solve, the more you practice, the more it's going to be built in your head that okay, I can solve this question this way, and it's going to be automatic as the time goes on. Use the official syllabus that is provided by the Cambridge to your guy as an official guide, because sometimes you wonder, okay, do I really need to know this? You can just go to the official syllabus, go to the topic and check if it's needed or no. Now, topic wise tips, this is really important. First things, motion, forces, and energy. This chapter is basically kinematics and a few of force, momentum questions. Practice moment questions, because moment questions are the most complicated to the point I've seen. Moment and momentum questions can be insanely complicated if they're actually creating a very hard question paper. So practice them a lot, and also they are way more confusing than the other ones. Be patient when solving basically all types of questions in this case, because a lot of them hold a trick. They have like a trick keyword or something, like, let's say something, and then they switch up at the last moment. So be patient and read the question well. Look look out for what they're asking, and practice a lot of scale diagram, because like I personally found scale diagrams complicated, and scale diagrams are kind of getting common in the question papers if you look at. So practice them a lot. They're solid marks if you just know the basics of it. Now, thermal physics. Some things are not written here, but I will tell you, for all the topics, you need to know the formulas. Create a formula sheet. It's really good. It really helps you out when you're revising in the last moments. But know about the latent heat of crystallization, vaporization, and also know about the graph of increasing temperatures. Know about thermometers well, such as what is a bulb, what is a bore tube or the capillary tube, and how you can increase the sensitivity or how you can decrease the sensitivity, how you can a high range to the temperature. Like, let's say the general temperatures are from 0 to 100 degrees Celsius, and how you can increase that range or decrease that range. Know about all of those, and also know about how you can convert degree Celsius to Fahrenheit and Fahrenheit to degree Celsius. The last one is that know the difference between heat capacity and specific heat capacity. Now you guys might be like, what's the difference? There's actually a lot of difference, and I learned it the hard way. So pay attention to this actually when you're learning it. This is something I found missing on the books, that they don't say specific. Now on to waves. For this chapter, you basically want to be looking at a lot of echo problems, because they're a lot common in question papers, and they people make mistakes in them a lot. Like, they most of the time forget to multiply the distance by 2, and then you will be needing the reflection and refraction, right? The maths are kind of easy, but you'll be mostly needing that for your ATP paper, because light is a really important part of the ATP paper, and the other part will basically be knowing about the uses of each wave and how they're used in different sectors. On to the next one. Okay, now about electricity and magnetism. So this chapter is basically one of the hardest according to my friends. But yeah, when I started out, I find this chapter pretty hard as well. But there are some things I focused to make this chapter a lot easier. The very first one I did was to know when to use the left hand rule and when to use the right hand rule. You basically use the left hand rule when there's no movement in the wire, and right hand rule when there is movement in the wire. That is the way I summed it. You can get your own, make your own way. The next thing was, those questions you're going to be seeing one in the screen right now. These type of questions, I found them kind of complicated, and they were also for a pretty high amount of marks. But so what I personally found was that I found it confusing. What should I do when? So this is where the part comes that know the properties of the serial and parallel circuit, that let's just current adds up in a parallel circuit and voltage stays the same. So these things you can use to make these questions a lot easier. And try giving the question in the screen a try, maybe go back a while and then get the question. And also, knowing the components in a circuit is really important because they ask you to draw them, and a lot of stuffs are there. So it's also important to know about the diagrams of charges and magnetic field. It's not that hard, but it's just basic, something we mostly forget. Now, nuclear physics, a really easy chapter. If you know it, you can get free marks. First thing, know about the alpha, beta, and gamma radiations. They're really important. The next thing will be to solve the questions related to half-life. Again, they're really important, and they are the most common question from this chapter. And you should know the uses of each radiation. Let's say alpha is used in smoke detectors, and there are other uses for other radiation. You need to know all of them and know what can be used to block which radiation. It again comes down to the properties of radiation and all of those. Now about space physics, it's a newly added topic, and what I would recommend is that first know about the star life cycle. It's really important, and like it's really important. It even came in the exams. Know about redshift. Again, that is also a really important topic. If you ask me the most important topics from this chapter, I will say that these two are the most important topics from this chapter. Know about the season changing, and know about the orbits of the asteroids, planets, moons, and all of that. It's not that complicated. It's kind of basic. And the next thing will be to solve questions that relates to Hubble's constant and light years. This is something that came up in May June 2023 exam, so make sure you do that. And well, practice as many questions as you can, collect from different sources, different subject codes, to practice as many questions you can about space physics. It's a new topic, but it's not that hard. Make sure you know this topic very well, because this topic is new and they can add in a lot of twists in the exam. In this I elaborated more in my maths guide, and if you also want the resources, you can go to my general guide for IGCSE video. I'll have both of them linked down in the description. But it again remains simple, that first read the question, write down all the variables that you got. Sometimes you miss out if it's not written in numbers, so make sure you do that, and then consider like a map in your head that, okay, how can I solve this problem, how can I approach this problem. Get that thought and then make a plan. After you have made the plan, read the question again and see if it actually reaches you to the answer. And once you have done that, look for any type of things that you're missing out, or there might be tricks. Look out for them. And once you have done that, go with your plan one by one. Don't rush. If you rush, even if it's a really easy question, you're gonna make very silly mistakes. Don't rush, one step at a time, and then you're eventually gonna get to your answer. Now, number 5 is not basically a problem solving tip. It's basically something related to your exams, that like sometimes we see questions that we don't know or we don't understand. If you see something like that, don't panic. It's mostly something simple that your brain can't process right now. Your brain is probably frozen for a second on that question. So maybe skip that question and solve it later. This gives you a lot more functionality to solve the questions that you know, and allows you to keep a clean head and calm head during the exam, which is really important. Now on to the bonus and summary part. Okay, basically, again, summary is practice, practice, practice. Something you can do is something I personally did is solve, check, review, check. It's basically saying that first solve a past paper, use the mark scheme to check your answers, then review your mistakes, and then check the things you got wrong again after a few days. So to make sure that you remember it. Focus on parts that you would weaken. It's kind of simple. And keep physics in your regular study schedule. It's really, really important. If you go out of practice, you're gonna forget physics and you're gonna be like, I used to know this, why don't I know it now? And onto the bonus part, you can solve problems your way. It's completely fine as long as it's not wrong. Now what do I mean by that? Let's say your teacher solves question with a formula and you solve the question with a different formula, but you can use the same principle. Like, let's say your teacher is using v is equals to u plus at. Let's say you find a different variable and use another formula. It's completely valid as long as it's not wrong. And draw diagrams to any question that's possible, because it's again really, really important. I emphasize on it a lot, because whenever you draw a diagram, it just gives you the answer. Like, trust me, whenever you draw a diagram, it simplifies things by so much that you can answer the question easily. Anyways, that's all for today. And if this content helped you out and you like this type of videos, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Leave any comment down below if you have any doubts or you want to share anything with us, and see you in the next one.